start us off in the right way, right off the bat. I want to start off with a prayer. And, turn it up. They're saying turn it up.
She's got it.
How's that? Ooh, it's blowing me away. Is it too loud out back there? No. Okay. I'll start over. Welcome. I'm going to kick us off with a prayer first, and then we'll jump right in. And I promise, even though we're getting a little bit of a late start, we're going to get you out of here on time. Promise. So would everyone bow with me in prayer? Father, thank you for your mighty love for us. Thank you for your word and your counsel, and that when we call upon you, you hear us, and you provide a lamp for our feet and a light for our path. Continue your hand on our nation, on Charlie Kirk's family and his gigantic set of friends, and all of the TPUSA family. I pray we indeed see a revival in this nation, and that our hearts are drawn even closer to you, Lord. Tonight, Father, give us eyes to see and ears to hear the things you want us to know and understand for what is needed within the boundaries of our beloved Klein ISD and what is needed for the leadership of our school district. There are many entities and movements within the public school system in general that are working against your values. We need strong leadership to be watchmen on the wall for our children, for their safety, their minds, their future, the future of our country. We are grateful for these candidates that they have taken on a sacrificial burden to run for the school board. Campaigning is tough on budgets, schedules, and families. Thank you that their desire is to make Klein stronger in measurable and also immeasurable ways. Lord, stronger with your ways and your values. We know that they are imperfect people. We are all imperfect people. The person praying is imperfect. Those presently on the school board and all the other candidates, all are imperfect people. Lord, help us see, know, and understand your direction, your values, your will for those whom you would have serve on Klein ISD School Board. Help us see what about these candidates shines past imperfections and qualifies them to serve you in their position on the school board. Thank you, Father. Hear our prayer, which is lifted up in the profound name, the name above all names, the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Now I welcome you again. It's vitally important to be informed as we go to the polls in November. Thank you for taking the time to come and meet these two candidates, hear their love and their deep roots for Klein, understand their concerns and their vision for making a difference and their goals for making Klein stronger. Many of us have seen firsthand how important strong leadership is in our school districts, on our school board. Speaking for the PAC here, we've all experienced, some of us have experienced retaliation, worked with teachers who have experienced retaliation. And we have growing concerns about a board that has voted unanimously on every decision for the last 6 years up until recently. We're concerned about the broken grievance policy, lack of transparency with the check register, the mishandling of the Klein cane sex trafficking. And we love our school district and we want to see it shine as it's done in the past. And I'm looking forward to you hearing from these candidates. I want to introduce first Jack Velasquez, running for position 3, and then he will introduce Justin.
Justin.
Take it away, Jack.
First, I want to thank all y'all for coming out. I know personally this takes a lot. You know, I've got little kids at home. I've got work commitments, but I feel called to do this. So who am I? I'm a Christian. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a veteran. And I'm a proud member of this community and have been so my whole life. I hold a bachelor's of business administration with specification and supply chain from the University of Houston, downtown. So, you know, my roots run deep in this district. I have one daughter who graduated in 2012 from Klein, one that graduated in 2014. I have 3 sons, one's in 6th grade, one's in 5th grade, and one's in 2nd. So if you're keeping track, that's 5 kids total. So, my family comes from people that are called to serve. My grandfather answered that call in World War II and served our country. My father answered the call. He's a veteran as well. He served the United States Air Force, Texas Air National Guard. And I too, because of their legacy, I served my country for 9 years in the United States Air Force and Texas Air National Guard. Professionally, I have 20 years experience in supply chain and operations management. So I'm used to handling budgets and managing teams and making sure things come in within budget. Well, why I'm running? I'm running because I believe the school board should be a voice of the people. We are the people. And currently, I do not see a board that votes unanimously as a voice of the people. I see it more as a rubber stamp. It's not the will of, it's not the will of people for them to keep voting like this. It's at the expense of students and our community wishes. For the past the other reason I'm running is for the past 2 years, Klein ISD has passed budget deficits. In this past year, it's 21 million. Last year was 33 million. These aren't small numbers. They represent a pattern of overspending, and it's unsustainable. When deficits become the norm, we know what the results are. It's either going to be higher taxes, or they're going to have to reduce programs for our students. If elected, I will remain visible, meeting regularly with students to hear their concerns and share updates. Ensure the voices guide every decision I make as a trustee. Furthermore, as a follower of Jesus Christ, my commitment is to lead with integrity, honesty, and a servant's heart. Luke 16:10 reminds us, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. I believe we are called to be good stewards of the resources entrusted to us and ensure students at Klein ISD have the opportunity to succeed. Together, we can ensure Klein ISD continues to be a place of excellence for generations to come. I humbly ask for your trust, your vote, your support, and your prayers. Thank you, and God bless America. This is Justin.
Do you want me to use this, or that's pretty loud, isn't it? Use it? What's that? That's it? Okay, can everybody hear me okay? All right. My name is Justin Woolridge, and some of y'all I've met before and seen before. This is my second go round, so if at first you don't succeed, try again, right? So last year, didn't quite make it. This year, give it another run. A 46-year resident of Klein ISD, came up through the Klein ISD system. So I attended Tice Elementary, then Cron Elementary, Dory Intermediate School, and graduated from Klein High School class in 1995. I was the third one in my family to come all the way up through the Klein system. And after me, I was followed by another sibling. So my two younger siblings ended up going through private school because at that point, my dad had seen some stuff in the district and took them out. But little background on me, I am a 26-year veteran in the oil field business, oil field sector, everything from, you name it, infrastructure to microgrids, data centers, basically been there, done that in the oil field sector, carried a lot of different roles, everything from straight sales to financial responsibility for the entire project, budgeting the entire project, laying out the entire project, and talking about deals in the magnitude of $500 to $600 million on average. So, and having to be accountable for every penny. So one thing our district needs is some fiscal responsibility, as Jack mentioned, with these budget deficits. There's a long way to go there. We have one person already on the board that's great with budgets and working with numbers, so she drastically needs some help. So dealing with the everybody else that's on the board. So one of the reasons I decided to run this year again was basically the same reason I decided to run last year. The Klein ISD of today is not the Klein ISD that it was when I came through the system. Transparency, gone. Accountability, gone. Credibility, gone. Integrity, gone. And when you have all these breakdowns, it tends to start a snowball effect. And what's happened because of this over the last several years, oh, I forgot to mention, I do have a child that's in school right now. I have one that graduated last year. He's now playing football at Texas Wesleyan University. My other one's a sophomore at Klein Oak High School. So they're in the system, and that's where a lot of this information that I've come to know is because of them coming up through the system. My wife being a current teacher, the teacher burnout rate is through the roof right now. Tenured teachers are retiring at a clip that this district's never seen. They're leaving and heading to Cy-Fair, they're leaving and heading to Tomball, all of our neighboring districts. And when you sit back and you look at it, you ask why, and you try to figure out why. We know several of these that we've met through my wife's friends, coworkers, and the main reason that they all say is fear. So they're working out of fear. And from personal experience, if you lead out of fear and you try to put fear into your employees are going to work just hard enough to keep their job. They're not going to go that extra mile, right? So that's a big problem. And the other problem that we have in the schools right now is we're no longer teaching kids to be what they need to be to grow up to be contributing members of society. We are teaching to data. That's all the district wants is data. We teach the data and we obtain data. And then that's in turn is used for everything else the district needs for spending wise. So some schools there's in-class support for every class, for every teacher. And so that's why our numbers are getting up there when it comes to educators and stuff like that. But really just doubling down on last year and trying to come in stronger, more knowledgeable than last year. I think we definitely have the knowledge part down at this point, and especially on some key issues. If you have a question about anything dealing with a grievance or a complaint process or a Title IX or anything like that, I've been thrown into the fire. So this book, I don't know if y'all saw it when I got up here, but I have 4 of these at my house. This is book number 4. I have 3 others at my house that are 100% complete from teachers and parents in the district that have contacted me via Facebook Messenger or the web page we had from last year's run. And all the stories are so far apart and lots of different avenues and the stories are coming from, but they all seem to have the same common theme in mind. And that's when, if it's a teacher, it's always fear. Fear of retaliation, fear of being removed. And my wife was a victim of that. So we got to deal with it firsthand in my family. She was uprooted from Woolridge for no reason, and she was sent down to the south side of the district. So that's Klein's punishment. And then as soon as she got down there, they came back to her and said, oh, you didn't do anything wrong. What middle school would you like to work at next year? So she had to move everything out just to move it into a new school the following year. So there's no consistency across Klein ISD. Everybody that you talk to has a different answer, different response. They don't even know their own policies. I've been personally asked by Klein ISD to come in there and help them, educate them on their own policies by HR department. And it doesn't seem right to me that a constituent and a parent in a district is being asked these type of questions. So again, as Jack said, any questions you guys have are more than welcome to answer. We humbly ask for your votes. Hopefully you guys have some good questions, throw some good stuff at us, and we can tell you our stances on it. Anybody have any questions, or
I have a list of
do we need
start it off if you want.
However you want to do it?
Can you start it off, Donna? Okay. I'll ask a question and then y'all can follow.
Justin, are you a Christian?
Absolutely, sir.
Where do you worship?
Priscilla, let people that have a question hold the mic. Just repeat the question because the mic's wired, so it can't travel.
Okay, so the question was, am I a Christian and where do I worship? So I'll answer that question for you now. We are Christian. My family's very Christian. Was born and raised, and we were mainly in the Lutheran church. That's where I went to. Had a little spell of preschool over there at Trinity Lutheran, and that's where my grandfather got us into. But then we transitioned over to Champions Forest Baptist Church probably 4 years ago. Really loved it. I had an instant connection with the pastor over there, Pastor Stephen Trammell, until I found out about his involvement in trying to obtain evidence and take evidence away from a kid that was trying to blow the whistle on some, y'all probably all heard of the whole youth group ministry over there, and Timmy Geltima that was a youth pastor over there and was doing some bad things as a youth pastor with young women. As soon as I found that out, I went to the pastor and had a conversation with him, and he basically told me that it was none of my business and to stay out of it. And I said, well, this is the youth of our nation, and I'm here because of you. You're the one that invited me. You're the one that brought me here. We had the connection, and if that's the kind of person you are, I no longer want to be part of your preachings, because your preachings are two-faced at that point, right? You're saying all the right things out there, doing all the wrong things when you walk out the door. And so my wife and I have been on a journey. We've been to about 17 different churches over the last probably 13, 14 months. And we're looking for our forever home now. We found one that my wife really likes, but it's about an hour and 15 minutes away. So it makes for some long Sundays, but we're trying to find something a little bit closer to home. So right now we're going to a couple different places, but we're trying to find something closer here to home. Yes, ma'am.
It's a glorious white church. You know James Woodrock, he is a SD7 chair of all the precincts.
Okay.
And we're very involved in the program around the glorious white.
Yep, and I plan on hitting Priscilla's church at some point, because she's invited me about 15 times, and so we're going to hit them all until we find a good landing spot that we can do.
Jack, same question. Which church do you go to?
I go to Bayou City Fellowship in Tomball. Bayou City Fellowship in Tomball. I live literally on the border of Klein and Tomball, like 100 yards over, and I'd be Tomball ISD. So we go there. I usually attend men's night, which is tonight, but I'm giving that up to be here with you fine folks. My wife is on the leadership committee for women's on Wednesdays, and we attend regularly every Sunday.
And I'd just like to apologize for my attire tonight. I was at a customer event. I didn't think I was going to make it at all, but I was able to squeeze out and get here. So y'all can laugh and point and say I have little chicken legs or whatever you want, but so we'll get that out of the way. So.
Yes, sir.
Both of you have said the same things what you plan on doing. What specifically do you have to aim at as related to what did you see that's wrong, and how did you go about trying to fix it? You're saying about budget, you're saying on and on, which means I hate to say it's lit talk. What exactly do you plan on doing once you get there?
One, I know his question was, what is our plan of action if elected? Everybody talks about budgets, but no one seems to ever do think it's lip service. For me, we do what we do in business. When we have a deficit in business, we look at overhead and expenses first. It's the first thing we look at. I mean, I was talking to the president of Cy-Fair ISD, and one of the moves they made, and it's an ugly word, but it's part of the solution, because most of the capital is labor. They got rid of the librarians because they felt like there wasn't a serious need for the librarians, or they got rid of the majority of librarians, and it reduced their deficit. Because he said they've managed to balance their budget. He said their board over there is pushing back on the budget. So that was one of the suggestions from the Cy-Fair ISD president. He was at an event, we were at the Truth Movement last week.
And to further that, one of the things when it comes to the budget, one of the things that's been forgotten about in Klein ISD for the last several years is the student. We're no longer putting the student first. I shouldn't say we. They are no longer putting the student first. They don't see the student, they see dollar signs. So our students now in Klein ISD are just a revenue stream. And that's made evident by some of the other things that have been put in place here recently. So I think one of the first things we need to do is we need to truly turn those classrooms back over to the teachers. We need to let them teach. No longer teaching the data, get rid of the administrative red tape, let them teach. And then we'll truly see what we need in the schools at an individual basis. Once we get that information, Then we can take that information back to the central office, which is a big target because we have a lot of overhead in the central office. And just for example, we have twice as many people in HR in the Klein ISD central office as Cy-Fair does, and Cy-Fair is twice our size. So we're just putting people in positions for the sake of putting people in positions at this point. And we're paying them high salaries. So let's find out what the teachers need first, where the rubber meets the road with the students in the classroom. Let's take that information back and let's attack central office, look at central office and see what's going on there. And we have to get down to what that figure truly is at that point, and we can see where our budget stands at that point. And then, like Jack said, then it's time, as a normal business guy, we're both been in business for a long time, you look at your overhead and your expenses. So then you start making decisions, and some of them are tough decisions to make, but some tough decisions are gonna have to be made to get the budget back on track.
Say one more thing.
What's that?
I wanted to say one more thing. So recently, there was a vote, and the state legislation passed a law that said all public schools, homeschool students are automatically opted in. Klein ISD automatically opted in. So all homeschool students can now participate in UIL sports, automatically opt in. If a homeschool student participates, I think you get what, $1,500 per kid. Klein ISD voted 6-1 to opt out.
Correct.
There was only one vote that voted to allow the kids, and if the schools are for our kids, how is that for our kids? Not only did they give up the revenue stream, they voted just not to allow them. So it doesn't make sense to me.
So when you say you want the teachers to get back to teaching, and I totally 100% agree with that, but how much control do the state of Texas have over the curriculum?
Repeat the question.
Question was, how much of the state have control over the curriculum that the students are involved? Because you said you want us to get the teachers to get back to teaching.
But doesn't the state have some control over the curriculum that is taught by the teachers?
Well, the curriculum right now, the curriculum right now, the state does have some, but the curriculum in place right now basically is teaching to the STAR test.
Right.
So we have, so we have all these TEKs in place, right? The Texas, the state of Texas has approved, and there's all these TEKs that they're supposed to go through. And they do a fine job of going through that for the first semester. Second semester is 100% teaching for the STAR test, for STAR test prep and STAR test readiness. My wife's a science teacher, so they don't really have a STAR test in science. So in her class, she's even having to give them extra time to study for these TEKs.
How do you change that? I mean, it seems to me you got to change that. The state's got to change that.
Well, that's part of, that's already been changed. So that came out in, what was it, House Bill 10? I believe it was House Bill 10. So House Bill 10 is starting the 26-27 school year. STAR test is no longer. What they're going to do instead is they're going to have three checkpoints along the way, which is basically what they do right now. They have, they test the kids early on in the year with what they call map testing. Then they test them again right before Christmas break, and then they test them again at the end of the year. So that's where this is the data-driven portion of what they do right now. And so the thought process, or at least what the teachers are being told now, is that those three map tests will take the place of basically the three state mandated tests that are going to come up. But nobody really knows the answer to that one because
it's still data-driven.
It's still going to be data-driven to an extent, but it's going to be more based on the teachers actually teaching the TEKs that have been approved for the state of Texas, and the child, the student's retention of that material, and they should be progressing along the way. So you should see an improvement from, say, 6th grade, 3rd week of 6th grade to 14th week of 6th grade to the final 2 weeks of school. You should see a progression along the way of them showing that they're learning and they're retaining these things. So there's still data, but it's not data that the teachers are, right now, the data that's being collected from the teachers and the students, that's what the teachers are being forced to teach to. So just to give y'all an example, I don't know if any of y'all are teachers. Are there any teachers in the room? Okay, so in Klein ISD?
I'm retired.
You're retired? So in Klein ISD right now, teachers now on Fridays, that's a catch-up day. So Fridays are no longer instructional days for kids. So now what they do is the teachers have to put stations in place. And you basically just break up your class into small groups and let them rotate station to station to station. That's supposed to be the review of the material that they learned that week. But when you do that, you kind of lose control of the classroom and the kids, some kids pay attention, some kids want to learn, some kids use it for what it's meant to be used for, some don't. The majority of them, it's just a kind of a free wing it type of deal. So that's something that they started new this year in Klein ISD. So now we basically have a 4-day educational week, and that 5th day is it's stations in every class. So it's basically they just go to class and they go station to station and then they get out of it what they want to get out of it. So it's not the teacher presenting the information to them anymore. They just have to figure it out on their own on Fridays. So it's very little teacher interaction on Fridays. And to me, that's not the way I was brought up. We were, everything now there's mechanisms in place and to keep helping move kids along, and it's pretty much impossible these days to fail a student.
What's the homework load for kids after school? How many hours do they normally spend on homework if they do
Repeat the
homework?
question.
So the question was the homework load and what's the homework load for the kids right now?
I can speak to this because I've got a son in 6th grade, and I know when I was in 6th grade, the question was, what is the homework load for the school?
Could you move the microphone away from
Yeah. The question was, what is the homework load for the students now? Correct. I know from personal experience, my sons are not doing very much homework at all. They have some take-home assignments, but they're usually like parent take-home assignments. But I remember when I was in 6th grade, we had homework every night. So that's just what I'm seeing. Like I said, I don't expect homework for the 2nd grader, but the 5th grader is very minimal, and the 6th grader had his first homework. They have review things, but most of the homework is extra credit.
And just to add to that, I have like I said, I have a 10th grader, and I would expect he's in all KP classes as well. He also has dyslexia and dysgraphia, so I would expect him to have homework, and he has next to no homework. So we've actually put a 504 in place with the district, so now he gets paper copy assignments, and so when he comes home, he does them in class. We have him do them again at home so we can kind of make it stick in there a little bit better. So it's that's just something that we do personally in my family, because other than that, there is no homework. When he gets home, he hangs his backpack up, he never touches his laptop again. So the getting back to the old pen and paper is where I think needs to be in certain subjects at least. There's some subjects that you are going to need some kind of electronic device to navigate, but pen and paper for me is really where it is in a lot of the core subjects, I believe. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I couldn't hear what you said in relation to librarians. Were you talking about just an example?
That was an example that Sci-Fair did. So when the Sci-Fair president said, when I was talking to the Sci-Fair president the other day of the school board, he was saying that was one of the things that they did. They felt like there wasn't really a need, or I don't know exactly what, I'd have to get further with him, but he said that was one of the ways they eliminated something to get their budget in order.
I would hope if you ever came to that you would really research that, because I'm a retired reading specialist, and librarians really have a lot to do with our children and their literacy, so I would hope that you would research that. If you ever came across that, if you get on the school board.
That was just an example, because obviously to get $21 million down, which is what they are right now, some tough decisions are going to have to be made. I mean, I really think a lot of it's probably expenses, and a lot of it's overhead.
How about legal expenses?
And there's legal expenses. Yeah. I mean, there's other places I think you could. I don't think the teachers, or we ever touch the teachers, right? The teachers, they can't do enough, right? They need our full support. I think it's egregious that every year the teachers are sending out wish lists to ask for supplies, that the district can't provide that. I don't buy supplies at my office. But every year, I get 3 wish lists from 3 different teachers begging us to help them be able to support our children at schools.
Well, I can attest to that because I taught for 33 years and I can't tell you how much money I spent in 33 years.
Yep.
So are we really paying you that salary if you're having to come out of your pocket to buy school supplies?
Yep.
I think the district, I think they've had $669 million in budget revenue. They've got to find a way to work that budget, get it under control, but find a way to support the teachers so they have the supplies they need to teach our kids.
Yep.